Alright, this is my third remake of this video. Let's try this again. Hey guys, my name is Connie. I'm touching on anxiety today, specifically mine. I'm not trying to teach y'all anything. I'm just trying to kind of talk about it and my anxiety. So, I made a couple bullet points about what I want to touch on because I just don't like the way the story was kind of going in the two videos that I did. So we're gonna just try this again. To kind of explain my experience with it, I've had anxiety from as early as I can remember. Sleeping form. I've always had trouble sleeping. And I'm gonna say a lot. Sorry. I'm just kidding. See, there it is. What's another way I say? What can I say instead of So I wouldn't say it right then and there. When I was younger, damn it, stop saying that. Okay, when I was 5, and I would sleep, I would have this image. Please, if anybody who watches this video has ever experienced this, please let me know. Whenever I would close my eyes, you know how sometimes when you close your eyes, you get like the black images with the dots, with the kind of galaxies in your eyes? And especially after you look at something really bright and then it's really bright in your eyes and it kind of has to go down. So I'd have that. But there would be this sharp image of a box that kind of expands in my mind. Not box, but just boxes that would expand in my mind and make my head, make me kind of dizzy, or what's the word? Like make my head start spinning, and my head would start spinning, and that's just how it began. All my life, or majority of my life, I always had slept with someone, so it became something that I was really relying on and got used to. And as I grew older, eventually I had to stop. I stopped sleeping with people, or beside someone, or in the same room with someone. And then it kind of started showing up as sleep paralysis. I think the first time I got sleep paralysis was when I was in 8th grade. So you can hear me now, can't you? Yeah, you can hear me now. She's a liar. But the first time I had sleep paralysis when I first time I had sleep paralysis was when I was in 8th grade. I remember, actually, you know, it probably wasn't 8th grade. It was probably 7th grade. I remember the first experience I had too. I was sleeping in my little twin-sized bed. And I remember having this dream about witches kind of stirring the pot. You know, sometimes I would just have a normal dream and it would switch over to a nightmare, and this one was specifically about like witches chanting and like stirring a pot, some crazy shit. And then I remember being awake in my mind and seeing my lights flicker on and off, and then I heard a roar, and then I was enclosed in sleep paralysis. It started happening every single day after that, and it just made me, I've always already been scared to sleep by myself and always had trouble falling asleep. It's been like that as long as I can remember. As long as I can remember. If you could ask my mom knows. I've always had trouble sleeping. I would stay up all night and wait for her to come sleep with me. I keep fucking saying God. But what's what I thought? Oh, but because of that, it kind of gave me this fear of sleeping. And once you go days without getting proper sleep, like getting 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours of sleep, you kind of get in this headspace, and it puts just a cloud over your mind. And I just became, I don't know, it kind of put me in this spot, this space where I'm outside of everybody else's world. And that's just how it would feel. and that added more to my anxiety. I've always been a very anxious person, an overthinker. To give an example, I used to be scared of storms when I was younger, tsunamis, that's why. Oh, and tornadoes. I used to be scared of the world in general because I watched a documentary, 5 minutes documentary, saying that the sun was going to expand and roll over the planets, but that wasn't going to happen in a million years. But for some reason, I tripped about it. This is when I was younger. I watched End of the World movie with my grandpa about nuclear bombs. I was scared of planes. I was just a very overthinker when I was a kid. Even as I grew up, I started overthinking the littlest shit, bro. Trust me, I've always been an overthinker. It stopped happening a little bit in middle school, then it started up again in high school, because look at the world. How could you not be scared of everything? And then when you're an anxious person, it just becomes elevated. So that's just kind of how my anxiety manifested. I lost my train of thought with the sleeping portion of it, but just my anxiety shows in how I sleep a lot. It makes it difficult for me to sleep. Sometimes I'll just have it, my mind's just running, and yeah, it shows up in sleep ways. But some things I want to touch on was different forms of anxiety. There's the overthinking. I feel like everybody, or a little bit of everybody, kind of has mild to more intense forms of overthinking, to the point where it kind of encaptures you. If it does, sometimes my overthinking does over grasp me. Is that the word? It's probably not even a word. But to the point where I start freaking out and I just can't think of anything else, and my whole body kind of goes cold. My girlfriend experienced it one time before, maybe twice she's ever experienced it. I've had panic attacks. They've been 2 different kind of panic attacks. There's also social anxiety. I think this is pretty apparent in teenagers. Not saying adults don't have it. I'm just saying a lot of teenagers experience this. Adults as well. If you don't know what social anxiety is, I would just say it's just anxiety to be social. Talking on the phone to strangers, like ordering on the phone, over the phone, or ordering in person, or talking to strangers, going to social events, things like that. My best friend's little sister, she had really, really bad social anxiety when she was younger, and one time she just stood and just started crying when she couldn't find her grandpa. And yeah, it's just, anxiety comes in a lot of different forms. One of the things my cousin said to me, she said she wanted me to make this video because anxiety is not something a lot of people talk about, especially because a lot of people get anxiety from talking about it because they feel like they're not like touching the subject the proper way, which is why I didn't remade this 3 times. I just feel like I'm not saying things the proper way that they should be said. Like I've said already, I think everybody has anxiety in different forms. Social, overthinking, there's probably many more that I'm just not thinking about right now, but I think everybody has it. It can show up in a small way or a big way. I think everybody has experienced it. Even if it's not just anxiety, even if it's just stress, or, you know, I think it's just a very common thing. I don't understand why we don't talk about it. But how to react to people showing anxiety. I've met people who don't take it seriously. They think people are being over dramatic, overthinking, saying it for attention. If someone tells you they have anxiety and that's why they can't do this, or that's why they need company doing something, or can you order this for me because I can't do it, or can you call me this place, or little things like that. It's not for you to invalidate someone's mental illness or mental health. It's just, I don't understand why people feel like they can diagnose you, or why they feel like your symptoms are not relevant unless you have a doctor diagnosing. If you feel like you have anxiety, because I think it doesn't need it to be diagnosed, there's milder forms, or what's another for mild? Higher forms of it that sometimes you need to go get diagnosed for, and you need to have prescriptions to help you deal with it. My brother was prescribed one time. Just don't invalidate someone for having anxiety. Talk to them about it. Why are you feeling this way? A lot of times there's not a reason why. For me, anxiety is just an irrational capturing fear. Sometimes it has an origin, other times it literally doesn't. It just comes. I think a lot of people who don't deal with anxiety in that way, they deal with it in more reasonable aspects. Feel as though people who can't explain that are lying or not, or doing things for attention and just don't have an excuse, like an excuse for what they're feeling. It's not true. It's an irrational fear. I watched a video one time of some guy kind of talking about his anxiety, and he was just saying, there's not a way to explain it. There's not a way to describe it. I mean, I think in some cases there are, because obviously I'm doing it right now. But I just think it's a little bit different to explain just kind of, like I said, where it's coming from, how it feels, or it's just, for me, it's an irrational fear. And that's the end of my list that I put on here. I just want to say the gist of all this is that it's something that needs to be talked about. It's not as uncommon as you may think. Your feelings are valid. You're allowed to overthink. If it's sometimes a problem that doesn't have a solution, that's where I'm at in mine. Is it stresses me out and it irritates me when I'm having an episode or a case and I don't know how to calm myself down. The video I made before this that I didn't like, I explained it as being able to see something that terrifies you and you want someone else to see it too, so that they can, first of all, tell you you're not crazy, and also kind of protect you from what you're seeing, but they can't see it. That's how I feel my anxiety is. A lot of times when I'm feeling really anxious, I want to be around someone to comfort me, to protect me, but it's very kind of it's very limited, unless I'm with my girlfriend, because it's a little bit more intense and kind of emotional and like connecting or whatever. When I'm with a friend, it kind of helps less, or helps, but it's not as much as it would be with my significant other. But yeah, it's just for me, a lot of it is just, like I said, it's just something that I want protection from, that I literally won't get it from. The other day I made a video talking about it, and it kind of helped me deal with it a little bit more, but I just don't know how to navigate it. And I think that's why we need to talk about it more, so people share more of these experiences, because it is such an irrational fear. It's you don't understand it. I don't understand it. I don't think anyone really understands it. And it shows them in different forms, in different cases, and just relieved in different ways. I get why people smoke. I get why people drink. I get why people do a lot of different things, because it's relevant in different ways. But yeah, it's a scary thing. It really is. Mental health is, because it's not real, and I think that's the worst part about it, is trying to understand something that's not in front of you. It's all just mental. Emotions are hard to grasp, and then it's just something that originates out of the blue. I guess in reality there is no gist to this. Just to kind of talk about mine and how I feel about it, and that I don't know what the fuck I got going on in my head. I don't think everybody has to. We're all just trying to figure it out. and I'm trying to find ways now to kind of deal with it. Recently, I've been on the CBD thing. Other times, it's just a lot of cleaning or watching Netflix or watching videos of people living their happy lives. And other times, it's I'm in so much fear of my own presence that I go hang out with someone. Something like that. Sometimes I can't, though, so I just have to sit in the room and have my dog, which she's 110% like her own remedy for anxiety, or my own remedy for anxiety, because a lot of mine stems from just being alone and having to be around my own presence. But having hers, dogs are like little angels. And that is the end of my kind of little rant on anxiety. If you guys at all relate to what I just said or understand what I just said, please leave a comment and a like. And I want to make more videos talking about mental health. I do want to talk about depression soon and insecurities, 110% insecurities. Yeah, there's so many different topics I can touch on. This is just one of them. I wish I didn't have to remake this 3 times like I did. I wish I kind of did it in the spur of the moment like I did the first time, but I just was in such a spur of the moment that I didn't kind of word the words the way that I wanted to properly. So I think this is a better outcome than the first time. But thank you guys for watching, and we're all fucked up. We don't have it together. Nobody's perfect. And have a good night or morning.